Showdown Bandit is a stealth-based horror game that was released on Steam on the 17th of September in 2019. It was developed by Kindly Beast, who famously made Bendy in the Ink Machine, and because of that, you would probably assume that this game was really popular and a massive success. Well, not quite. The game was met to very mixed reception from critics and fans alike. The general opinion people had is that it was very slow paced and it wasn't too scary. All of this and the fact the game costed $8 for the first chapter resulted in this game being delisted from Steam and cancelled. Now, I was working on a Bendy video, and as a result, I was googling information about the people who made it and rediscovered a game called Showdown Bandit. Now, I never bought Showdown Bandit for myself, but my sister gifted it to me on Steam back when it was still on sale. I wanted to revisit this game and see if it deserved all the hate it got. The game opens up on a character called Lorelei Undertaker freeing the character called the Showdown Bandit. Hey, there we go. There's the title of the game. From the box, and apparently that's our reaction to getting our strings on, but honestly, if you ask me, I would have just assumed that our demon possessed our character. Now, first impressions are key, and can I just say I love how this game looks. Its graphical style is mixed between something like Little Nightmares and, well, Bendy in the Ink Machine, obviously. It mimics a little, well, a puppet cowboy show of sorts. I'd say it also looks abandoned. The game is also played from a top-down perspective, which I think fits for the style of this game. I can see what people meant that it's in something very scary, but I still do think the atmosphere is done really well. However, the graphics being good doesn't automatically mean a good game. So, let's take a look at the gameplay. Oh my god! You see this right here? This is why the game failed. In order to move around, you have to click around the map to move. However, you move so damn slow in this game, and it takes forever to get from point A to point B. And I feel like this issue could have been fixed by just adding in a run button like Bendy has. Now, I do know it's probably not the fairest comparison to compare everything in this game to Bendy, but given that they are made by the same developer, I think I'm being as fair as I can. There's this gun mechanic where you can only use the gun in specific areas by activating specific switches, and the gunplay itself is done from a third person's perspective, which is kinda cool, but man, this gun is not satisfying to shoot at all. I also tried avoiding these shooting sections since they take forever to unlock, and you pretty much just walk past most enemies. There are some parts when you need to hit a belt using a gun, and there is actually a pretty fun on-rail section later on in the game where you need to hit targets or you end up hitting a wall. However, putting the simple detail, the entire game plays like this. If this seems very, very boring, that's because it is. Basically, the entire game consists of going to one location, then walking, then going to another location, then walking. It's basically doing tons of backtracking. There are also collectibles like money, but the money is only used for one thing in the entire game, and that is paying the character to see an Easter egg. I suppose if the game got fully finished, we would be able to buy shop upgrades or whatever of this said money, but that never happened for obvious reasons. Your heart meter is indicated by these strings, and if you take damage, well, you lose your strings. And you only have 5 of them. I think a lot of people complain about this mechanic, but honestly, I think it's fine. There are also certain locations in which you can either save or heal yourself. Speaking of which, I guess it's best I bring up the characters you interact with in this game. The first one we got is called the Banker, which runs a location called a bank. Go figure. These banks act as a way to save your progress, which is kinda cool, but yeah, you gotta makes me wonder why we have money if there isn't much to do with it. We have another character called Don Carver, which is a medic, and will repair your strings for free. Can you please just give me an excuse to spend money? Now, it may seem like cherry picking this game at this point, but come on. I feel like this money thing is a wasted mechanic. Yet again, we got Lorelei Undertaker, which I already mentioned, but I should also mention that she is basically a guy of sorts. We then have Penny Hemsworth, which is, she's insane.
I found the way. You can't look up if you don't have eyes.
She was a former shop owner, however, has seemingly lost her sanity. The next enemy we have is the Faceless Bandit, which will occasionally spawn in the room and will try to attack you. However, remember how I said there was no running in this game? Yeah, this makes the chase sequences really undramatic. And you're basically just walking away as you're waiting for them to disappear. You can also sometimes just appear pixels in front of you, resulting in you instantly dying without much warning. He also cannot be killed. The next enemy is called the Stringless, which is the weakest enemy in the game, and is killed by the gun. However, like I said earlier, I'd prefer to just outwalk the enemies so I don't have to deal with them. There's also this section where this giant one is chasing you down the hallway, but like I just said, there's a section later on where you have a zombie form appear, which is kinda cool. There's this pumpkin character called Frenzy, which appears for less than 10 seconds. Yeah, that's all I have. The last enemy in this game is called Arachnid. If the name didn't make it obvious, it's just a spider and they're basically the same as a Stringless. So, those are all the characters in this game. There was one in the wiki called Grease, but I didn't see him when I played this, so I can't say much about him, apart from the fact he was originally supposed to be red, but then replaced with a blue color scheme. Now, I think it's best if I mention the plot of this game. The idea is that we navigate a place owned by a company who had a TV show named the Showdown Bandit show. However, it was randomly cancelled. However, every part of the set, including the puppets and environments, stayed. This is starting to sound exactly like how the game was cancelled. You're supposed to find out who is controlling the strings after the show has ended, but like I said, the game got cancelled, so I guess we'll never know. The only thing we see is that at the end of Chapter 1, a hand randomly comes down as we face a lot of bowling pin-shaped faces. There are no cards, but they go more from the puppet's perspective than they do the worker's perspective, sort of thing the tape players in Bendy. There are also wanted posters, which are basically the same thing. Some other stuff I feel like mentioning is that this game had merch. Of course, it's no longer officially sold, however, it's being resold for pretty low prices, which makes some fairly cool collector's items for such a low price. There was some controversy with the merch when it was initially launched. It's generally agreed upon that the developers for this game saw this as some big new IP when it first launched, and tried to milk this game for all it was worth. Which, given everything else JoBee Studios and Kindly Beats has done, honestly, it wouldn't surprise me if that was the entire idea. Pretty much, Kindly Beats acts like this game never existed at all, and shortly after the game was cancelled, Kindly Beats ended up laying off around 50 employees. Now, I can't say for sure, but it wouldn't be too far-fetched to believe that Showdown Bandit's failure probably had an effect. Alright, thanks for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hopefully you can expect a video on TLO, the end of Disney, and Bendy itself within the next few weeks.